Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, welcome, and if you're not new, welcome back. So today I'm going to be teaching you guys how to cut this beautiful neckline. I'm sure you've been seeing it everywhere, and also how to cut an overlap gown, any way you want to call it. So today I'm just going to be teaching you guys how to do that. So without further ado, let's go right into it. Now the first thing to do is to measure your shoulder to your nipple, or the nipple of the person you're sewing for. Now I'm using 10 inches for the nipple of this person, and then your shoulder to your under bust, and as well your shoulder to your half length. So this paper is more like the half length of the person I'm sewing for, so that's why I'm not taking it. So it's the entire length of the person I am sewing for. So after that, you go ahead. I'm just trying to measure it at the other side again to make sure that's perfect. So I'm just going to be drawing a straight line to join those lines together. So I want to make sure that it's 10 inches at the other side too, so that I can achieve a straight line just like so. So afterwards, you join a straight line from the shoulder to your nipple, shoulder to your under bust, and shoulder to the half length. So now you go ahead and measure your shoulder, which is 8.5 inches for the person I'm sewing for. And then I'm going to go ahead and measure the armhole of the person I am sewing for, which is, I think I used 9 inches for this person. You see that at the place where my shoulder stopped, that was where I measured my armhole. So I'm just going ahead to measure my bust. The bust is divided by 4. By the way, the shoulder was divided by 2, and then I'm going to add 2 inches to it. So I think what I did here, I still later corrected this. Actually, I'm going to explain it further. So now where my arm was stopped, that was where, okay, I'm trying to make sure that it's accurate. So I'm going to be drawing it down just like so, after which I'm going to be measuring my bust divided by 4 plus 2 inches. This 2 inches actually is the same allowance. So the measurement of this person is 40 divided by 2, which is 10, and I added 2 inches allowance, which make it 12. So I'm just going to be drawing a straight line just like so. There are different ways to go about it. If you want to go and measure the chest first, you can do, but this is actually a very easy way. You know how to do it here, definitely the easy way. So you just go ahead and draw a straight line from that 12 inches that we measured downward just like so. Now after this, you go ahead and measure your waist divided by 2. Don't forget, sorry, divided by 4 plus 2 inches allowance. So the waist of the person I'm sewing for is divided by 4, 9 plus 2 inches allowance, making 11. And then at that, my shoulder to my nipple, I measured, okay, at my waistline I measured the waist, that is 9 plus 2 inches, 11. And then at my bust line, I measured the bust. So I'm just going to do a straight line just like so. So I'm trying to explain to you guys that shoulder to nipple, shoulder to the under bust line, and then the shoulder to the waistline. So afterwards, I'm going to be going to my armhole and divide it by 2. So at the middle of the armhole, I'm going to be coming in by 1/2 inch, and I'm going to be using my French curve to achieve like a curve on the inside of it. Just like so. So after that, this is the armhole. I'm going to be measuring my nipple to nipple. So I used 5 inches for the nipple to nipple of this person. So I'm just measuring this downward from each of the lines. I'm drawing a straight line just like so. Afterwards, I'm going to be minusing 1/2 inch from both sides of the nipple line. So I'm drawing a straight line. Now remember that the under bust line and the half length, that was where I minused 1/2 inch. So I'm just going to be connecting it straight to the nipple point just like so. so you can see what it looks like. So I'm going to cut out my pattern just like so. So guys, I'm also going to cut out the dart just like so, and after cutting it out, I'm going to be using my sellotape to join it together. So guys, before we go further, if you've not subscribed to this channel, please try as much as possible to do so right now. This honestly goes a long way to inspire me to want to do more. Please subscribe. Thank you. So you use sellotape to join it together. You can actually do this now or later after you've cut out your the other pattern, which I'm still going to be doing. So this is the neckline. I actually measured that 4 inches, and I'm going to be notching it out so that it will be very easy for me to identify where my neckline is starting from. So I'm so sorry, I didn't know that I wasn't recording this part. Actually, you see, what actually happened is I measured 1 inch, I think 1.5 inch, and I slanted it from the 4 inches that I measured from the shoulder straight to one part of the dart, just like so. You can see, you can make yours 1 inch or 1.5 inch. So I actually measured it straight to where the dart is. You see that it's not actually reaching where the dart is, but I actually draw it just straight like so. And so after, the more you spread your pattern paper, the more you'll be able to achieve that folded part. The more it's going to be very folded. So it depends on how you want it. So make sure that it's actually, you spread it enough. So I actually did not spread mine enough, so it wasn't really so folded like so. So now this is the downward part. I already cut out the skirt just like we used to cut out our normal skirt. Underneath your waist, your hip, and then minus 1 or 2 inches from the downward part, so to achieve a straight skirt. So I'm notching both ends to be able to identify the middle of my downward part or the skirt side. So now what I'm going to do is to open it up. You open it up like so. After opening it up, you take your ruler, and then you just try to notice how deep you want the cut. It depends on how deep you want to cut. It depends on how slanted you want it. So I already identified the middle of the skirt just like so. So you can see how I actually did it. That was where I notched. So I left like 1 inch or so that I can just slant it like so. Although afterwards I noticed that it wasn't so deep. Like afterwards, let me not confuse you guys. Let's just go with this first. So I'm just going to cut out that part, that slanted part. The other part, I'm going to cut it out just like so. There are different ways to go about this actually, but this is more like a very easy way to go right about it. Before you do this, it's better to use your front part to cut out your back part. And you know, your back part is just going to have zip allowance, which is not going to have slit. But this is more like the lap is going to be more like the slit. So I'm going to be facing the right side to another right side. You can see the one I just cut out. I'm going to be facing it on a new fabric, and I'm going to be using it to cut it out. You can see that I make sure that 2 right sides are facing each other, so that you won't make that mistake of, you know, facing it upward. If you face it upward, it's not going to achieve what you want actually. So make sure that the right sides are facing each other, and then cut it out just like so. So you need 2 pieces of what you cut out. So that other one that is small, that is slanted side, you don't really need that anymore. You can always use that for something else in your fabric. So you can see what we have now, 2 sides facing each other. I already used the first one to cut out the second one, so I'm just going to place it on each other just like so. And after placing it on each other, I noticed that the slit is not so open like I wanted. Like it was already giving some kind of vibe that I don't like. So I wanted the slit to be deeper than this. So I'm just going to cut it out more at that middle time. I'm going to deepen the cut way more. So if you notice that you're not satisfied with the deepness of the slit, it is just better you just face it right side facing each other just like so, and then you deepen your curve. You can see that this is not like a straight slanted line, it's more like a curved slanted line. So it depends on how you want it actually. you can always be creative with this. So I actually deepen it in by 1 inch, so you can see what we have after I deepen it in. I don't want it to be too exposed though, but I just wanted it to be a bit. You can see what I have afterwards. So by the time I'm still going to sew it in, the seam allowance and everything is still going to open more. So I think this is actually perfect. I like the way it is right now. So I'm just trying to make sure that I have like a straight cut in order to be able to achieve a perfect seam. So you can see what the deepness looks like. So this is what we have, guys. So it is actually important that you, after you seam it, it is important that you join the 2 sides together. Like at that slanted side, you can see that I have like 2 stitch. Make sure that you join it together so that it will cause like to be a perfect skirt part. Before you join it to the backward side and the upper part, make sure you join it together. So I'm trying to show you guys what the folding looks like. You can see how I folded it in. Make sure that your spreading is very big, is very wide, so that your fold can actually be deeper than mine. You can see that mine is not really so deep like so. So thank you so much, guys, for taking our time to watch this video to the end. If you've not subscribed, please do so. Thank you. I love you. See you in my next video. Bye.